Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Firstly, apologies for delay in bringing the HyRyder review, ownership review out so late because I wanted to spend enough time with the car before I start filming my thoughts. Right now the odometer reading is well over 5,000 kilometers and it's a great time to summarize how I feel about my HyRyder. So my HyRyder has completed two services so far. The first one was at 1000 kilometers and the second was just a few hundred kilometers back at the 5000 kilometer mark. Now is a good time to start off the review with this. So by now everyone would be aware that the engine the hybrid HyRyder uses is the TNGA motor. It is the 1.5 liter engine, but let's just talk about something which the mainstream media doesn't talk about, which is the transaxle. So this is a P910 transaxle. It primarily consists of a motor which is the MG2 which drives the wheels and the MG1 which generates the electrical power. So this uses a transaxle eCVT system and well, we will talk about the CVT gearbox a bit later, but now let's talk about the numbers this engine generates. And the combined output is approximately 115 horsepower. On paper that is something which is definitely feeling underwhelming. However, this engine has its moments because when you're in the city and when you require that instant boost, that combined you can say that hybrid power, the ICE plus the battery really give a good amount of punch initially off that line. Does a meaningful job in closing those gaps in the city. So it will never really be insufficient for the city usage, and that's where this entire combo, that's where this entire package, the hybrid package, shines for Toyota, and I'm sure it would shine similarly for the Grand Vitara hybrid as well. Also, I'm aware that there are driving modes, but I usually just keep it in eco because as I said, there is no juice in the engine for the power mode to do anything magical. So it's better off you keep the car in eco, and that's what this entire package has been designed for, economy. Is it the best sounding engine? Definitely not. I genuinely feel that my Cushac's 1 liter 3-cylinder sounds much better than this 1.5 liter 3-cylinder. And yes, so the gearbox does a good job in providing, you can say that seamless, unending feel of continuous power delivery in whatever slow form it is delivering. So the genetics of this gearbox are always leaning towards economy, smooth, relaxed form of driving. We are aware that this car was jointly developed by the Suzuki and the Toyota engineers, but I was always having a question in my mind that who developed the suspension? We know that this is riding on the global C platform, which is the Suzuki Global S-Cross platform, but what about the suspension? So while I was tinkering around the car, I checked the wheel well area. I found a sticker which was on the suspension, which has the letters YFG mentioned. And anyone who was tracking these cars' development and the test mules would be aware that the term YFG was an internal code name used by Maruti Suzuki for the Grand Vitara. And whereas Toyota's internal code name for the HyRyder was, I believe, D22. So YFG signifies it's a Maruti Suzuki part. And so yes, so that decodes that the suspension is being supplied by Maruti. So that is not bad news, my friends, because the suspension, you see that we went over some pretty rough undulations on this internal highway, and I'm continuously driving on a piece of bad section of the road. But this is just to demonstrate that this is an extremely good riding car. The ride comfort and the suspension tuning is spot on, and Maruti has got this right. Previously also we've seen in the Brezza. I'm not sure whether this is a Brezza suspension, but if it says YFG, it means that this suspension was developed by Suzuki for this tie-up, which is the HyRyder and the Grand Vitara. So not only the ride quality, the handling also feels very good in terms of high-speed manners, and also in terms of you can say when you are wanting to corner the car at whatever the engine has to offer, the chassis and the suspension are always ready for it. And this is one of those cars where the capabilities of the chassis, the capabilities of the suspension far you can say outweigh the capabilities of the engine and the gearbox. I have never seen the fuel economy in the entirety of my ownership to go under 18 kilometers per liter anytime, and that says a lot. That means it's definitely delivering very good economy, because my car does a good amount of short distance runs daily. It is used as a daily. I'm chauffeur driven in this car, so my driver is not really an extremely he doesn't have that proper expertise to extract the best fuel economy, but still the car delivers 18 plus easily. Whereas the ARAI numbers suggest 27 kilometers per liter. That has also been beaten not once but twice with ease. In fact, I have on one occasion I almost touched 30 kilometers per liter, and that was a city run inside city limits on with 4 people on board. So that says a lot about if you drive the HyRyder in a way it is supposed to be driven, it will really reward you with excellent fuel economy numbers inside city limits in you can say moderate traffic conditions as well. The car automatically switches to EV mode when you are having path throttle or feathering the throttle, and it does go into a complete EV mode even on level 2 of the battery charge. So it's also pointless to switch on the EV mode unnecessarily. It's best for the car to automatically identify when it's best to switch on the EV mode. What about the fuel economy on the highways? Well, this is one of those cars where the economy is better in the city versus how it is, how economical it can be on the highway, because there are very few occasions on the highway when the car is a complete EV. So this is what I'm talking about, is around 100 to 120 kilometers per hour when you're cruising in that or at those speeds. The story might be different if on the highway you are at 50 or 70 kilometers per hour. But who drives like that? People who do long distance, economy runs with one tank full from this city to that city, those guys do it. And that's absolutely unnecessary. No one in the real world drives like that. So it's irrelevant, those economy runs. But coming back, the HyRyder, in my opinion, is the absolute hero when it comes to the city fuel economy. And in my eyes, it is the new short distance fuel economy king. So starting off with the rear seat. So if you sit like a crash dummy. Then the headroom is, you can say, tight. And you can see I'm wearing a tall hat. Still, well, it does touch because I'm sitting like a crash dummy. But if you sit like a normal human being, or like a business person who has returned from a hard day's work, or a person who's just who is usually chauffeur driven, they will probably sit like this, maybe slightly leaning towards the armrest, and then the headroom is not a problem. Also, the legroom is pretty generous for the segment, which is helped by the fact that you can slide your feet under the front seat, liberating that extra stretch, which I believe is not available in the current and the upcoming the upcoming Innova High Cross, because I think there are some batteries or something placed under the front seats, which is not the case in the hybrid HyRyder. The front design and the overall leather treatment looks really good to my eyes, though there have been a clear indication that the parts bin from the Suzuki has been explored by Toyota. But that's okay, till the overall cabin feels well put together, which it does in the HyRyder. The driving position is a bit difficult to find because of the lack of electric adjust. We have been spoiled for that. But once you are in your ideal driving position, it is a good view out. A quick mention about the head-up display. It is a great feature to have, and it does have totally 3 types of displays. And in my opinion, the implementation of the HUD and the amount of information it offers, something like even if you change the AC temperature, it displays that as well on the HUD, and that is a really cool thing. So in my opinion, the implementation of the head-up display in this car is slightly better than what Kia did with their Seltos. Speaking of that, the AC does a good job, and so does the ventilated seats, which perform very well. And they are all helped with tinted glass all around, which I believe would be a segment first feature. But I want to meet the engineer who has installed a tire pressure monitoring system which displays the TPMS in kilopascals. Like, who does that? I would really want to meet that team, or I would request Toyota India or the Suzuki India counterpart to really pull up that team and ask them that where do they find tire pressures to be set in kilopascals in India. If they are not able to answer that, they deserve a pay cut. Right, it's time for my signature style SWOT analysis to be done for the Toyota HyRyder. Starting off with the strengths. The ride quality and the handling performance is a definite big strength for the HyRyder. And in this segment, it does offer a brilliant combination of that ideal ride and handling balance. So it surely is a very strong strength for the Toyota HyRyder. Another big strength, we all know, it is an obvious strength, it is the fuel efficiency. This might be the most fuel efficient car in this segment. And I have shown some numbers previously in this video, and that is self-explanatory. Okay, so strength number 3 is good looks. So the HyRyder is a definite good looking car, both inside and out. Okay, so strength number 4 is the brand value. So the Toyota badge itself is a great strength to have in this segment. So finally, a Toyota in this segment. And people were waiting for it, and now they have it. And in the form of a hybrid, it becomes a great strength. We know that there is a similar product available, a badge engineered product, the Suzuki Grand Vitara. But do understand one thing, Toyotas have had great amount of experience in proper hybrids, whereas Suzuki's have sold fake hybrid cars as smart hybrids for almost half a decade. Poor implementation of features, and that's the best way to put it. The intention was good, but the implementation was bad. Let's chart out a few examples. When you switch on the camera, when you put it in reverse, the 360 degree is still acceptable, but the reverse camera quality is just average. Example number 2, when you want to charge your phone and you put it in the wireless charger, it's absolutely hopeless. Never has the phone given me any charge after charging it on the wireless charger. I would probably go on to say the charge would have remained same or maybe reduced, and with a hot phone. So again, this is something like, a paper feature which people just want to sell cars. When they want to sell cars, they say, okay, our car has wireless charging as well, but it's an absolute ridiculous wireless charger. And again, that engineer who okayed this supplier of the wireless charger needs to be pulled up and deserves a pay cut. Example number 3. We do have a panoramic sunroof. Indians like panoramic sunroofs, but the sunshade is thin. This is not going to really matter too much right now, but in the summers, definitely a good amount of heat can come down. And forget the heat, the AC is okay, but this looks absolutely cheap. So marks are cut not because of the performance, but the way it feels and looks. And it's again, the intention was good to give a panoramic sunroof, but the implementation of the sunshade is just below average. Again, that engineer who okayed this needs to be pulled, deserves a pay cut. So the weakness number 2 is that it is boring to drive enthusiastically, and that's the best way to put it. I've already explained this during the driving segment, and it deserved to be mentioned in the weakness section, that it's not really enthusiastic to drive. So the enthusiast may not enjoy it, and then it's a weakness. Okay, so the weakness number 3 is the boot space, which is low. It's understandable, but it had to be mentioned in the weakness because it's a hybrid disadvantage of sorts, but it is just about manageable for a small getaway on a weekend, but larger bags, for a big family, an airport run will be difficult in the hybrid HyRyder. So it has to be mentioned in the weakness, the boot space. Right, so the opportunities. Number 1, straight. This is a great opportunity for Toyota to garner those not lost, but garner good sales numbers, and because this is the first hybrid in the segment. Opportunity number 2 is a joint opportunity for the Suzuki and Toyota brand, because this is their first product together. Products like the Glanza and the Urban Cruiser are just plain, minimum badge engineered products, whereas this is a jointly developed product. So this is a great opportunity for both Toyota and Suzuki to deepen and strengthen their ties to fight the Korean competition, as well as to fight the strong Indian competition which is coming in from Mahindra as well as the Tata. So, and also Toyota has a lot to offer to Maruti. Similarly, Maruti has a lot to offer from from Toyota. An example, I would say that Toyota has done great research in the hydrogen technology, hydrogen plus ICE. So Suzuki can eventually, maybe in the next decade, gain from this tie if the tie lasts that long. And so it's going to be a win-win eventually. And both the companies should understand that this is a great opportunity to start off with. The battery electric vehicles, they are coming in and coming in hot. So people still are very experimental, and they are wanting, a lot of people who I randomly talk to, they say, oh, okay, electric vehicle is the future. And well, the battery electric vehicles are now also being price accessible. So that is a big threat for this car as well as the other hybrids. So finally, to conclude things, I would like to summarize by saying the HyRyder for me has been a great buy. But is it a one car to do it all kind of a car? Then the answer is straight no. Because it will disappoint the enthusiast in you when you want to have fun with the HyRyder. But is it the best city car in the segment? Then the answer is yes. Is it the most economical city car in the segment? Then the answer is yes. And is it the most comfortable city car in this segment? Then the answer is again a big yes. And on that note, thank you for watching.